subsector is bleeding. Members, 25 billion. We are planning for All Africa Games, the budget was cut. We are planning for Commonwealth Games, the budget was cut. We must start the cycle for the Olympics and Paralympic Games, the budget was cut. We must proceed for World Championship, the budget is cut. I prayed in cabinet that why don't we give the sports subsector an exception? What we call travel abroad to us in the sports subsector is representation of the country and participating in our international obligations.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Honorable Minister, kindly take us back to where we were.
He has noted that point very well.
I wish the right honorable chair could direct.
I'm about. You wait.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair, Right Honorable Prime Minister. I recognize the Vice President and all protocol. Madam Chair, I want to first of all appreciate government from reducing from 68% of the people who are not in the economy to 39%. But you are aware that the people I represent are the majority, the 39%. But when I look at this program, it looks at PWD population of Uganda. There is a need for us to define what is vulnerability. We remember in the cash transfer, the Minister of Gender, the disabled were sort of pushed out of it, and yet they are the ones who would be called as vulnerable. So we need to define, Minister of Finance, what is vulnerability, because vulnerability depends on certain situations. We need to define the issue of affirmative action and the issue of equity, so that we don't leave certain populations out. And I want to say, Madam Minister, for the first time, not that I'm a minister for disability, let the government of Uganda buy us assistive devices. You cannot give me 5 million to start a business and I don't have a wheelchair or a tricycle to move me to the market. I think for once, let this government think about disabled people and put assistive devices. We have signed a law which talks of reasonable accommodation. If I was in parliament without an assistance, maybe I wouldn't manage to work. If I didn't have these crutches which are very expensive, I wouldn't be able to move. So I want the government of Uganda, through the Minister of Finance, once in a while provide some kind of free cycles, walking frames for people, because they are very expensive. So we shall think about this vulnerable group to bring them out of poverty.
I wanted to tell you that you are part of government now.
No, I am talking now because we're in the budget. They always forget that area of assistive devices.
Thank you so much. Your point.
Thank you so much.
Now let me have... I picked ministers only. I want to pick other people. Okay, let me have... Can I take you as a commoner? Okay. Then we have... Let me pick like 3. Then we have our brother behind there.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister.
And then our lady. Then the last lady the other side. I'm sorry I can't see you properly. In that order.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, thank you very much, Your Excellency, and the Chief Justice, protocol observed. I want to thank our Secretary General for the point he made. I want just to add one. I'm a commoner Tangodoi. I just feel there is a lack of clear interface of ministries in our government. A clear interface of ministries, that ministries should talk to one another to avoid duplication and contradictions, because ministers mirror good governance. I really feel so sorry when I find one minister saying this, another minister says another thing, to the extent that someone in this presentation said there was a bit, one department suing another and calling on the Prime Minister to intervene. We are working for one government and one flow of event. I think there should be very good, clear interface of ministries. And this is a good beginning. We have a very, very strategic and energetic Vice President, Prime Minister, and who people listen to and who are down to earth. I pray and beg that you try to schedule that our colleagues talk the same language. I want to give you the example of Makerere when I was. Nearby faculty would not use it. They all bought generators, and when they started blowing, we would not teach. And up to now, you find the generators are switched off. All of them. So there is a secretariat which owns the manifesto. The government ministers don't own the manifesto in political dispensation. The mother of manifesto is a political party called NRM, in our case. You are implementing a party manifesto. There should be interface between the government and the party secretariat. I know you've started, and you've started very well, but I want to request that this interface goes into the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance should think of bankrolling political parties where NRM will gain better. When there's a bit of more funding to political parties, you will see the parties going to the grassroots. What you said when my Secretary General was submitting, our Secretary General. We need to strengthen the grassroots, and all of you politicians will come back to Parliament with ease.
That point is taken, Doctor.
Lastly, Madam, I want to thank you for giving us audience, and I want to request that we interface with you more, since you're the leader of government business. Thank you.
I am available. Yes, let us get the microphone. After you are going at the end.
Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Protocols observed. To me, mine is simple. Since there is no longer...
Introduce yourself.
My name is Nathan Janima, MP Bukanga, North Constituency in Senior District. Since we have stopped the travel abroad, let our ministers come out of the offices and visit Uganda. When we are budgeting, we are setting priorities among priorities. Ministers don't know Uganda. If you had brought members of parliament, they would be lamenting each constituency. But if you move around Uganda, you will become Ugandan. You know where a road is required more than another place. I like the way you move, the way you have started with even the Vice President. Right Honorable Kasaija, when they had forgotten the roads in the southwestern Uganda, he was like in Ampara. And he can tell us what he made on the photos projects. But the moment you don't move, things go wrong. We want you to be extra eyes on top of other people who are monitoring the projects. 2, Minister of Finance, I would request the PSST stop being an armchair, because you are very difficult people. People have found that office very difficult even to access, to get some little information. Get out of those offices and see where the money you budget, where it goes. Get out of those offices and work.
Thank you so much.
Another issue is, one of the civil society has said, disclosure. The budget used to be a confidential matter, it's now open. Why don't we let our projects, like you see the billboards, this project, this road, this contractor, full stop. We want to see how much money is involved. Who is the contractor? How long will it take? Disclosure means every project will be, people will be informed. So at the end of the day, we don't have duplications. We have had USMID and money sent to this one like Masaka. There was USMID, but you have sent more money. We don't know which money is repairing the roads. It's because there is no disclosure of the information on the billboards. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much. As if you were in a meeting yesterday, ministers and permanent secretaries yesterday and Tuesday, we had the 2021 financial year performance. review, and we agreed to move to the fields. So I'm also going to add my voice that we must move and see what is happening in our countryside. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Your Excellency Vice President, His Lordship the Chief Justice, Honorable Ministers, protocol observed. My name is David Karubanga, Member of Parliament, Chigorobia County. I'm also the chairperson of the Physical Infrastructure Committee. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Secretary General has talked about the party manifesto. Of course, we also have the other National Development Plan. I'm talking about roads here. The obligations we have in the NDP 3 plus other requirements in the NRM manifesto are quite high, but my main concern is the cost of road construction per kilometer. We've had a lot of arguments in different fora, and maybe now that the proposed rationalization of UNRA going back to the minister will address this. Given these political pressures, can't we look at, as a government, at working on designs which can reduce the cost of road construction in roads where the axle loading is not high? Thank you.
Yes, I am now going to, I think we are getting late. I've started getting pressures that we are getting late. I had picked 1, 2, and then I think we shall end there, so that Minister of Finance can now go and give us responses. I would suggest, Honorable Guru, you would go near your senior colleague, and you agree on a number of things, and PSST, they can give you chairs down there so that you are near your colleague. So let us hear from you.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Protocol observed. I'm Yashkongo Rosemary, Member of Parliament, Shema District, and Chairperson, Defense and Internal Affairs Committee. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Ministry of Finance on page 8 noted that they will support industries that use locally sourced raw materials to produce most of their goods. I'm a little bit hesitant on this one because I don't know whether they have put in place mechanisms.
Smart 24, driving business. Smart 24, driving business.
My home, I smile when I think of you, Uganda. My home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda. My home, oh my Uganda.
I know, with you I'll always stay forever. I know, because I feel that we belong together. My home, under the sun so bright, under the moon at night, on my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey mama,
My Uganda, my Uganda, my Uganda, my Uganda. Nikukunda, my Uganda. Amari, alemira, my Uganda,
nyoe nikugonza.
my Uganda,
Amina ngojo, Amina ngojo.
my Uganda.
At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
Smart 24, driving business.
This is Jordan. When it comes to classwork, Jordan is magic. Jordan shines. Jordan makes his peers better. Jordan is a true leader. White Star Magic family, be a leader, be magic.
You know, prevention is always better than cure. Let's not go for prayers in mosques, congregational prayers. Let's all value the gift of life by maintaining the SOPs. Without that, COVID-19 is with us.
Protect yourself from COVID-19 by washing your hands with soap, wearing your mask, keeping your distance, getting vaccinated, avoiding crowds, staying at home, and avoiding shaking hands and hugging.
Smart 24, driving business. Smart 24, driving business.
Executed in one single financial year. Then we sequence. This year we do this, year we do this, that, until the problem is sorted out. A mega program, saving in circle. That is, I think, Honorable Kasoro is here. Kasoro, I will ask you, later on, let you take care of that. But what I can say, you will add, this Emyoga is not money for cham. It's money meant to help you, to help those people, the Myoga people. In my own language, then we would call it Ekisinde. People who are in one similar direction. The money is not for queuing, it's not for feeding, it is for enhancement of your production capacity. And you start by saving first and foremost. But Honorable Kasoro, you can add on later on when I give you a chance. UDB, people are not have either little or have not been sensitized. That is a woman MP from Soroti, I hope, am I right? Sorry I did not get your name, Mama. We haven't crossed each other's floor for minutes, I mean, as yet, but I think I said the woman MP for Soroti. Sorry, Kumi, I beg your pardon.
She's a member of parliament from Kumi, but formerly she was the LC5 for LC5 chairperson for Kumi district.
Oh, for Kumi district. Can I know your name, Mama?
Christine Apolot.
Apolot. Very easy to remember, Apolot. So, I agree with you. I think my banker is I don't know whether it is a bank etiquette. They don't normally want to talk. But now you have waked me, I'm going to shake them up. They should be able to talk both on air. They should be able to go to the rural areas and explain what they can do for those people who want to borrow from them. And then you talked about road infrastructure for new administrative units. Now the problem is, we took a decision, but I think politically, yes, it was good, but when it comes to money, it's a big issue. We created so many units, administrative units. Now funding them is a real issue now. Very big problem. And those of you who know, who are involved in this, you know what I'm talking about. We should have gone phase by phases, but we politicians, at times we put pressure when elections are coming, and at times I cannot withstand it. If I withstand it, then you would knock me down. So, please, those administrative units, we increase them when we are not prepared, I must say, to fund them. Honorable my friend Otara, degradation of our environment. The Prime Minister has already partly answered you, but really, if we have to really to protect the beauty of this country, you heard the Prime Minister telling you, and I am agreeing with the hand I have been telling everybody, there is no country as endowed and as beautiful as Uganda. Never. I've traveled around the world. But if we are not careful, we are going to destroy this beauty. People are settled in wetlands. Now that wetland it keeps our water, which eventually will go up and then bring us rain. So we're soon having problems of rains. And you can see the intermittence of rains now. When I was growing as a young man, not even young, and as late as the 70s, you could predict every 15th of August, particularly from my area where I come from, rain will come. Around the 15th, around 16th, 2 days plus or 2 days minus. But now, we can't tell. The season, we can't now even predict these seasons. That's why now we are applying for irrigation. Export of unprocessed minerals of iron as a case. I am not sure, because I know there is a total ban of export of iron ore. I would be interested to know the details so that I can take appropriate action. Affirmative action in training and also health facilities in some areas. Yes, we need to put health facilities in as many places as possible, but again, it's a question of sequencing. We need them, but we don't have immediate resources now. If your area, you think there is need for one, then you work with the Minister of Health, and then we can see in our future budgeting, and we create it. Honorable the Secretary General, decline in GDP ratio, what is the cause? The cause is very obvious. It is because when COVID came, people are no longer producing as they were producing before. That's all. People are no longer producing as they were producing before. The traders, the manufacturers, the farmers, the markets, because when there is no money in urban areas, the farmers even now are not getting discouraged from production, because their goods will not be easily bought. Corruption and the misuse of resources. Now, this question of corruption, let us not point fingers. It is a national, please, my party, you the Secretariat, I think we should sit down, study this problem, and come up with a comprehensive action plan. People will tell you they are poor. People they are telling you they are underpaid. Yes, being underpaid at that minute, you must steal the resources that have been given in your hands. Complain for a salary increase. The problem is that people want to become rich overnight. Of course, I can appreciate some low-paid people like nurses and doctors and scientists, other scientists, and other civil servants. But I do not think it's the correct way to get your problem.
You are remaining with 10 minutes.
Okay. I'm about to finish, Mama. UDB, bureaucracy, not easily accessed. I have said I will definitely talk to the management of that bank and find out where there should be prerequisites. There should be straightforward ways of doing it, and I'm going to tell them to put this in the press. Honorable Gidudu, how are you planning to cater for the elderly? There is a program for elderly, but again the issue goes back to money. We had been now that SAGE. SAGE is not a program that we started ourselves. This SAGE was helped us by the British. Now, by the time it came, we could cater for people who are 65 plus. The bill swung up. The number of people who are beneficiaries, the number shot up. Eventually now we are at 80 years. And I agree with you, we are now living longer than we used to live. So again, it's the question of money. Please give me a hand in increasing revenue, as I talked this morning. What is vulnerability? Can we provide devices? Oh, sorry, the vulnerability. Vulnerability are the people who are disadvantaged, like people who cannot, who are lame, or who can't speak. And you are saying we should provide them devices, maybe sticks or chairs or whatever. I would love to do so, but we go back to the common factor. Money. Honorable Asumu, You are the one who the one who raised that issue. Interfacing between government of Uganda, ministries and departments, and then the NRM Secretariat. Honorable Tango Doi, for sure, we should have you organize it. If you want to seminars, we definitely can agree. Then we interface so that the right hand knows what the left hand does. That would be my answer to that. Ministers, including officials, please visit Uganda. Spot on. I am in big quarrel with my minister. They are here, they can tell you. How do you plan for something you don't know? I've been telling them I don't know now, then I have got an EPS, maybe things would improve. Please travel around your country and see. Travel around the country and see. First of all, what God gave us and what you have not been. You remain ignorant. People talk about Karamoja, that Karamoja is a dry area. Who told you Karamoja is a dry area? But I have little time, so that will be a subject of another day. Honorable Nathan Vyanyima, he has put a very good point. Please display openly on every project the cost. What is it would cost? And how much money, and who is the contractor? Please, the Minister of Works, Minister of Water, Minister of Energy, listen to what that Honorable Vyanyima has said.
Let me amplify that
Yes,
I'm
please.
going to write. All these ministries.
Thank you.
Yes, giving me that as a directive.
Now, the cost per kilometer of road construction. Honorable David Karubang. Yes, that one will be answered by the minister in charge of works. I have little knowledge about it. I don't want to expose my ignorance much about that. So the Minister of Works, you can move that. I mean, you can write the question to the Minister of Works. He will answer you. And there is, of course, Honorable Chikongoro, you talked about monitoring. Yes, we all must be monitors. We all must be monitors. Don't leave it alone. When you are passing around, check. And when you see something that is not moving the way it should have moved, then you inform the sector minister. Honorable Obiga, consumptive infrastructure. There are, of course, some infrastructure which you are just eating. But there is infrastructure that goes to help the economy to grow and to produce it. And I talked about that one this morning. Land acquisition as a priority. I agree with you. The problem, of course, we go back to the base. We go back to the base. If I had the money, I would buy all the land that I want to develop in the future. But that is not possible now. More resources to the judiciary? For sure. I was telling the Chief Justice, I said, no, was it? I was telling his PS, I said, PS, Bigirman, why haven't you ever made it so clear, the Chief Justice? Now the judiciary is holding 4 trillion. Permanent Secretary, please listen to this. 4 trillion. If we solve those problems in our favor, we'll get 4 trillion. So talking about enhancement of tax collection, please, PS, take a note. The judiciary must be assisted to finalize those cases, and we get that money. Funding local government getting reduced. Yes. I have answered it already. I don't think I should repeat it. It is getting reduced because the envelope also is getting reduced. Then Victoria Rusoke, my dear sister, procurement process at central level, not only are they slow, but not transparent, e.g. some lazy fair companies are given too many projects. This is again, it goes to the question of lack of monitoring, and it may even directly go to the question of corruption. but I'm agreeing with you. Emphasis on institutional land monitoring and assessment to reduce on exhibitance funding towards central, which is done once in a way. That one I will come and because I've not understood your question. Penalties to errant corrupt officers. Yeah, we have got the anti-corruption law, but whether it works or not, I don't know. The problem is that we all have to put a torch in ourselves and become watchdogs. This matter cannot, as I said, this matter requires deep in the President Secretariat. The question of corruption in our system is such a deep-rooted problem. We need to have deep study and get to the bottom of this problem.
I also want to add and amplify that point.
Yes, Mama.
By saying, if we prevented corruption, I don't believe in post-mortem. By the time they go to court, let us handle these people. Hey, hands on. Let us, all of us, the permanent secretaries, the ministers, everybody, if we can put our feet down before our money is spent, you take a due diligence. See, is this money I'm going to sign? You as the permanent secretary, is it going to the right cause? Prevention is better than us waiting for the court process. Let us put our feet down and fight corruption together.
Thank you, Mama, for adding on that one. Do you have anything you want to add? Yoga.
Thank you very much, my senior minister.
Honorable Kasolo, you have 1 minute.
Yes, thank you very much. Your Excellency, Vice President, Mama, Prime Minister, and the Chief Justice. The issue raised by honorable member is the requirement for a member to have saved 30% in order for him or her to access Myoga money. Your Excellency and the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the 18 categories that are targeted by the Myoga program are the categories that are working. We are looking at border riders, taxi operators, restaurant owners, those that are into business. And we want people to embrace saving culture. By us fighting poverty does not mean that we should be giving people money. We should also encourage them to save, however little it may be. We are sending 30 million per circle, per constituency. In the constituency, we are forming 18 circles, and every circle is getting 30 million. From the local leader circle, which gets 50 million. But this money, this fund must be able to grow. Members should supplement this fund with their savings. So if they don't save in a circle, by a circle methodology, if you don't save, you don't qualify for a loan. You should be able to save. You see, it is a saving that proves your capability to pay back. So if you don't save, that means that you are coming for money that you will never pay back. So, Right Honorable Prime Minister, this requirement should be emphasized. Should be emphasized because we want people to embrace saving culture. For those circles that have really respected this requirement, they are moving on well. Right Honorable, I'm happy to inform you that so far we have registered saving worth 27 billion, cut us off this Myoga program. 27 billion. So really you should help me to ensure that we encourage people to embrace saving culture. Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Your Excellency, the Vice President, Right Honorable Chief Justice,
Right Honorable Prime Minister, ministers, distinguished participants, I just want to give a general response that covers almost all the issues. First, to understand the structure of the budget that we are looking at. If we take the example of the budget that we are implementing now, it was a budget of about 44.7 trillion shillings, of which revenue, our domestic revenue, could only be 22.5 billion shillings. Sorry, trillion shillings. The balance, which is about 20 trillion shillings, is all borrowed funds. Money that we already borrowed, which we have to pay back, and we have to pay back interest. And we have to use our domestic revenue to service these debts. What this means is that the available resources, called the discretionary resources, are very limited. So we are operating within a framework of very limited resources. And economics teaches us two very important concepts: the concept of scarcity and choice. So our resources are very scarce. So we have to make good choices. Choices, of course, as we make choices, we have opportunity costs. We have to forego certain things. And here's the essence of the budget strategy that we are discussing now. The budget strategy articulates the direction we are taking. And those are the options that we have made. So the distribution of resources is actually going to be based on this budget strategy. So there will be some winners, some losers, but we all ultimately will all win. Secondly, over the last so many years, we have directed much of our resources investing in physical infrastructure. A significant part of our resources have been in this direction. What this means is that we have heavily invested, and now is the time to look for the returns on that investment. We did not have power, we now have excessive power supply.
Smart 24, driving business. Smart 24, driving business.
It's a pleasure and thank you for joining us once again. Of course, we are still making sense of the budget framework. This function, of course, is taking place at Colorado Grounds, where a number of dignitaries have been invited. Of course, the private sector has been represented by the executive director, that is none other than Mr. Francis Chisirinya. Kasita has been represented by the acting chairperson, that is none other than Mr. Thaddeus Musoke, and of course, the Center for Budget and a few other people. I think this is the first event where we see all the business community being engaged to make sense of the budget framework. And of course, I am joined this afternoon by Mr. Africa Kiza. Of course, he's in charge of analyzing policy here at CIATIN, Southeastern African Trade Initiative Information. Africa, thank you for joining us.
You're most welcome for having me and every viewers. Thank you for having me.
How is CIATIN?
We are fine, working, trying to make sense of all these developments, the budget conferences, issues of wealth creation, issues of industrialization, issues of jobs. So we are trying to engage government on how best this kind of talk can be actualized.
Okay.
So, yeah, we have to.
I am surprised this time round. It is the first time where we see government engaging the mwana wa bulijjo, the mwana inch, of course, the entire business community in the process of finalizing the budget. I don't know how we make sense of this.
Well, the gesture is good. Mark my words, gesture. The gesture is good. But actually, the government, the thing is already predetermined. The budget is already predetermined. The allocations are already predetermined. which contractor is going to undertake which road is already predetermined. You have seen letters coming out from, from the headquarters directing UNLA, please award this Chinese firm a contract to build this road.
Why being pessimistic?
No, it's not being pessimistic. No,
you are.
I am giving you the reality. That let me take an example.
This is a ground for the business community to engage with the government.
No, yes, I agree. That's why I'm saying that the gesture is good. It's a talk shop. I am not saying that it's a bad.
It's more than a talk show. Where you have the business community talk about Kasita, talk about civil society for budget. Siatini, you equally representing the private sector.
We are equally, and I'm saying this as Siatini, and being thankful that we have over the years been engaging government on these processes, on the budget process. But like I'm saying, it is just a gesture. The actual aspects that matters to the country, to the economy, to the jobs, to the youth, to the small enterprises, to the Kasita, to the traders in Chikubo and Owino, they are not being discussed here today. It is just discussing, but the actual implementation has already been done. They have already determined, Ministry of Finance has already determined who gets what and why.
Maybe you have not been following up the event since morning.
I have been.
And hopefully I know you have.
I have been following up.
If you have been keen.
I have been keen. Let me give an example. To create jobs in post-COVID, in COVID-19 now, you have to stimulate, for example, local suppliers. That, for example, if we had to construct a bridge or a road or an infrastructure or a borehole or something, local procurement firms should participate. That is creating jobs. That is creating employment for the local communities. To date, of the almost 30 infrastructure projects, including small ones that are being undertaken, only like 2% is for local.
This is the trigger. What has happened today is the trigger to lead us to where
there's not. Let me give an example. Another example. You saw government reaching out to us online, using online technology. When the cost of internet is at 12%, and the minister, without shame, was there, promising, you see now we are going to create jobs for the youth through digitalization. How are you going to create jobs for an internet, for a young fresh graduate who is operating an internet cafe when the cost of data is so high?
Maybe let's first get to Kololo and see what the Vice President has to say. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hand you over to Kololo, the Vice President of this country. That is none other than the retired Major General Jessica Alupo is speaking to us. Of course, the Deputy, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, Jessica Alupo, is speaking to us.
Away, go and read his message to you and to the country. For instance, I commend the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for organizing the National Budget Conference for financial year 2022-2023. I have been informed that during the last 2 days, you were able to review the overall government performance for the last fiscal year, assess the progress made to date in regard to the implementation of planned activities for the current fiscal year 2021-2022 and highlight the key outputs, actions taken, and the challenges, especially the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy. This conference gives us an opportunity to discuss the government budget strategy and priorities for the next fiscal year that are critical to realizing our development agenda set out in the National Development Plan 3 and the NRM Manifesto. Amidst the need to address the current socio-economic challenges largely arising out of the effects of COVID-19 pandemic.
Given that government has taken steps to procure vaccines, expand hospital capacity through the recruitment of additional staff and or volunteers to assist with the management of the pandemic, the economy will soon recover, provided the population complies procedures and the corresponding directives set out by government to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus. The government annual performance report shows that despite the challenge, some sectors of the economy remain resilient and registered significant performance. To put the economy back on track, government has to undertake prudent fiscal and monetary policies to maintain the economic stability. And in order to achieve this, government has aligned the budget to the NDP 3 objectives, outputs and interventions required to achieve our development agenda. I have been informed that full alignment of the budget to the NDP 3 programs necessitates restructuring of government ministries, departments and agencies. Government is expediting the ongoing rationalization of government agencies and restructuring of ministries